Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3.
What up, what's good, what's happening, and welcome to the Off the Bench YouTube channel, a place where we talk about the current state of events that's going around on the Washington Commanders. I am your host, Big Herb, and today is our inaugural episode. So to start this episode off, I want to talk about me. I am a 38-year-old Washington Commander fan. For the majority of my life watching this team, I've always been a Washington Commanders fan, or Washington Redskins, or Washington football team, whatever team you want to call this team. I've been watching this team since I was a little kid. My very first season I remember watching this team was the 97 year. We went 8-7-1 that year. And then the following season, it was a clusterfuck. Started off 0-7, but eventually ended off going 6-10. So we showed promise near the end, and then the Snyder era began. So, and pretty much that has been my whole entire life watching this team. I have been a dedicated fan. At times I feel like they should be paying me to watch this bullshit that we've been watching for the last 20-something odd years. Like I said, I've been watching this team for a long time. I actually used to work at the stadium at one point. I was started off as a vendor, then I went into working as a ticket taker, and then I have to say at the time, my favorite job, I was an usher, because I got to watch the game for free. I got to go ahead and tell people like, hey, here's where you're sitting. It was community service type, not community service, but it was acts of service that I actually like doing, and I got to watch my team for free and eat for free. So it was a win-win for me. But like I said, as a fan, this team has been nothing but a disappointment for my whole entire life. I was too young to remember the Super Bowls. I was 6 years old and 2 years old when we won in 87 and 91. I wasn't even born when they won the first Super Bowl. So, one of the stories that my dad always used to tell me about was when Doug Williams in the 87 team won the Super Bowl. He went down to U Street and they were throwing oranges and bagels. And since then, I've been looking for my orange and bagels moment. So that may come into later episodes whenever we talk about good things as far as happening with this team. You're gonna see me talk about that in later episodes. But I mean, I've been with this team, like I said, throughout the whole entire Snyder process. It's been a pain in my ass. The fact that we only went to about 4 or 5 playoffs in the last 20-something odd years, it really is. It's something that really pisses me off. The reason why is because the first year we had when Snyder bought the team, we went 10-6, went to the playoffs, so it felt like you had promise. The very next year, he feels like he wants to run this team like a fantasy football team, get all these big name players, but we don't do shit. We don't get to the playoffs. And then we just pretty much fall off until Joe Gibbs gets here. When Joe Gibbs gets here, we actually show like we got promise, and then we go to the playoffs. We actually look like we could be a legitimate contender. Unfortunately, Daniel Snyder strikes again, and he feels like he needs to get these toys and not letting the people who run the place do what they need to do. And then the unfortunate events of Sean Taylor passing away, and to this day, I'm just still saddened by that. By the way, shout out to his daughter for making it to the University of North Carolina, for being a volleyball team. Even though I hate the Tar Heels, but you know what, Jackie, you deserve it. So shout out to you, girl. I know your dad is proud. But I also want to get back to the point of where we don't do anything, and we just been a laughing stock until RG3 year, which was only good for 1 year. And then Snyder, being the jackass that he is, he just, oh God, and he pretty much just gets injured and he's not the same anymore. And then we finally get Kirk Cousins to come in, and he has the "You Like That" season. We show like we have, a little bit of promise, but we're making a tail end run, and we don't show consistency. And that's another word that you're going to be hearing from me throughout this process, throughout this podcast. Consistency. I want to see that in this team. We don't see this. But with all the bad shit, with the drama, the scandals, everything that this jackass has been doing for over the last 20-something odd years, finally good to see that we have structure again. We have an organization who doesn't have any scandals. We have an organization that's not being run as a shady business. We have an organization that actually looks like it has adults running the show. And I'm just glad that all of that stuff is gone now, because it feels like we're not the laughing stock anymore. We're looked at as respectable. We're looked at as a team that actually knows what they're doing. We have an organization who is not a laughing stock for the last 20 years. Because it feels like I'm the middle child. I was the baby when we had the championship years, when I actually started to grow up and know what to do with football. We actually hey, we're not as good as we used to be. We have promise, but then again, we go into shambles with the Snyder era, and I don't know what it's like to be a good team. I have to look at those Patriots teams, those Colts teams, those Steelers teams, the Giants, any organization that you could think of who actually knows what the hell they're doing. We have a brand new ownership with Josh Harris Group. We got a new head coach. We got a new GM. Everything just feels like it's right. It's finally looked like we actually are doing the right thing. Like I said, with our GM, Adam Peters looks like he knows what he's doing. He's coming from a stable organization who went to the Super Bowl last year with the 49ers. We also have Dan Quinn coming in, who was at one point a Super Bowl coach. He's been with numerous teams where his defense has always been top notch. You have the Legion of Boom in Seattle. You have the when he took the Falcons to the Super Bowl, and I think his second year. And then the very next year, they still came back to the playoffs. Now, granted, when he went to the Super Bowl, they had a clusterfuck they had the biggest comeback put on them in the Super Bowl. I blame his offensive coordinator, but I also blame him. But at the same time, let's look at it. He went to a Super Bowl. His teams were good. Even when he went to the Cowboys and their defense was abysmal, he brought them back and he knew what to do with them. They knew what to. They came back, been number one or top 5 in the turnover situations. So it looks like he knows what he's doing. I'm not sitting there saying that we're going to the Super Bowl or anything like that, but damn it, to start the whole entire season off like this, it feels good. It feels like we have structure. It feels like we know what we're doing. We have adults in the front office that knows what they're doing. So this is just, like I said, this first episode is just going to be me talking about my fandom. The very next episode, we're going to be talking about the front office and the draft. After that episode, we're going to get into talking about the offense. And then we're going to go into the defense. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be talking about this. And then it's going to lead us going into training camp. And we should find out what's going on with this team, seeing what the situation is going to be with our offense, with our defense, special teams. And I feel like we're doing everything the right way. And it feels like we're getting ready to just start this thing the way it should have been 24 years ago. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you checking in to the Off the Bench YouTube channel. Please like, share, subscribe. And as always, Hail Commanders, raise hell, left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders. Take it easy. Peace.